But maybe you can apply that already. Maybe in tell me about what happened in the past months in your training. What did you learn in past months about your posing? What maybe can relate to that?
Bro, what I haven't like for the past like 7 months, 7 to 8 months that we're working together, it's when I realized that a lot of the things that I was doing at the gym, it wasn't so much related with bodybuilding. I know not everyone are getting into bodybuilding to compete, but the executions of the training or the way you're positioning yourself before you are starting to execute an exercise, it has so many things in common with posing. Like
Yeah,
the
for
way you
sure.
structure yourself to hit a pose is the same. You need to have the same stance when you're executing, for example, a squat on the
Yeah,
front
but it totally
leg.
makes sense, right? Because if you want to show every aspect perfectly in the posing on stage, um, you use every muscle in your leg. And every muscle in your leg using while squatting sounds kind of good. For a
Yeah.
movement pattern where we want to be fucking strong, if we want to develop an overall leg,
Hmm.
a pattern where we want to give prioritization not on more quad or more glute or something to prioritize everything the same equally. And this is kind of important to do some kind of that movements if we talk later about how chains and work. But this is the same kind of stuff like posing flow. Maybe, and this is probably you can talk more about it because posing flow, I need to still work on that.
The posing flow, brother, most of the times is if you connect how to, like, for example, if I think, like, take two poses, like front double bicep, and then from there going to back double bicep. The moment of how you want to rotate from the front to the back is how you're going to engage or move your or your legs with the way that you're when you turn from the front to the back, you want to be straight in a position that you are ready to execute the pose.
And
So
for me also, I would say um, the transition from A to B should be absolutely fluent and not a single part of the movement, doesn't matter where he stops, looks shit.
yeah, it's the
Like a
way.
dancer.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But look, posing, like how to execute, how to have flow, basically like a routine or an individual presentation, it's quite similar to how dancing is because the way you are posing is you need to not you need to know like how to dance, but if you know how to dance, it's easier. For example, I was dancing for almost 10 years. So when I was trying to, from my even from my first show when I stepped on stage, I didn't knew how to hit a front relax pose like correctly. But when I executed my routine, bro, everyone was like, "What the fuck? How can you pose like that?" But whatever,
Because it was not because of you nailed the basics perfectly, but you already had flow. And
yeah.
if you connect every movement at least fluently together, it's always something that catches attention because it looks more perfect.
Exactly. And when I look back at it, bro, I'm like, how the fuck I made everyone impressed with this shit?
Because as your knowledge grows, I always say your eye sees more stuff. And as
Hmm.
more stuff you see and as more you can reflect, as more you can learn about training. Um, What was the biggest things for you to, and I think this is also important for the listeners maybe here, um, to get your own flow. So it created by it by itself while trying to get it, or did you do something special what helped you get your own flow?
First things first is you have to start to, when you want to master the flow or to understand how you can flow at your best, is first of all, play songs that you really like, that can make you emotional, and start moving to the rhythm. Just move with the rhythm and let the song, like your feelings, express your movement. From there, start combining poses on it, and then you can create your flow. But at first, is you need to know the basic. For me, I knew how to like with my clients right now, how we start for them to get the flow is by teaching them the starting transition. For example, if you're in quarter turns, how to turn from front relaxed pose to side relaxed pose. Because simple transitions are are the things that are going to unlock them that unknown thing in their mind, like how to turn from the pose A to pose B. From if they don't have any flow, like if they can't connect, because there are the people that they don't have that ear for the music. Like, when you are hearing a music that you like, not everyone can connect with them. Not everyone can separate the beats in a song.
The thing is, you're talking about acoustic stuff, and that's already stuff we didn't got into that stuff in coaching because we are doing more coordination and stability patterns and more, I think hand-eye coordination stuff at the moment because you're seeing why we're doing that. Um, at least for the people who are watching it on probably YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, ah, fuck, I forgot what I want to say. I would say they matter because you get rhythm, and rhythm helps to get it. We can work in a tempo also in training or in posing to create that flow because flow for me, first of all, is your own rhythm.
Hmm.
And you need to feel that or and can also apply that on that music. And because if you like the music and you can connect to it well, for me it's like just music is something like impressions of emotions, or at least can be, yeah,
Yeah.
because you hear it and you feel something physically.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how that works for now, but you feel some tension in the body and something change. You breathe differently, you feel something, and you kind of feel that song or not. As same as actors or singers when they want to be very, very good, or dancers as well. You need to feel the music or the role to really play it good,
Hmm.
that the people like think that it's real, or if they think that the dancing looks pretty fluent or it looks nice, or the singing sounds like just better than everyone else when they sing, because they just can connect better to their emotions,
Hmm.
um, and have probably, and when we talk about singers, the right breathing patterns, that it sounds kind of nice. What at least I don't. I'm not into singing. I cannot explain it kind of technically how it works, but I needed to practice maybe to get some kind of good voice, but we will never find out.
Come on,
I'm
man,
just
sing for
singing
sing
in the
for us.
car or under the shower.
Sing for us, man.
No, not for now. then we probably need at least 4 weeks of training, and then we can try that. But that's something also I never did. I was kind of slobby because never like tried dancing stuff or singing stuff because I thought that was I never had the control of my voice, as you already hear. I have like problems to shut up sometimes because like my tongue is like just moving around without control. Yeah, that's kind of my physically problem. Um, you laugh, but holding back air is kind of also important in some parts of training as well. And this is something am not really good at. So you can relate physically stuff what I'm doing wrong also by my character or stuff
Mhm,
like this. But this, I think we're diving already too deep. We're going back to flow. For me, it's like rhythm and
mhm.
feeling the emotions and connect the tensions because emotions are impress some kind of the body also. Like if you're doing like a sad face, you can really feel that. Some people are able to cry because
Yeah.
like they can really do that good. So you can mimic with emotions some kind of tensions and breathing patterns as well. But for now, we are talking about rhythm and connecting the rhythm and emotions to that music. And
Mhm.
therefore, you can give some more dancing tips, probably. I need to listen more.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think first of all, the transitions, how to rotate from one pose to another is the most important thing. And flow, I think it's something that for everyone is different. Okay. Because me and you, for example, if I play the same song, we will not move the same because my flow, it will be definitely different than yours.
I
So
can copy your flow, and if I know how you feel and what you feel, maybe I can do that better and mimic that better, but I'm not you.
yeah, it's that uniqueness, even if I make a posing routine for a client, they can't. I need to know their feelings for the song. That's why I have a call with them before I plan, so I can get in their brain to know what their feelings are, to know how they, let's say, how they feel before I create that. So I can get into their character to create something that they can feel as well.
But this is more like the dancer in you that's coaching than the posing coach.
Yep. Look, for posing, I think for the posing routine, yeah, you need to connect both of them together. But if let's say someone comes to me to teach them the mandatory poses, there are things that when you're trying to connect the poses together or to execute the poses, I'm wearing the coach the posing coach hat because that one is specific. It's based on training because you need to have a good mind muscle connection and the and how to it's basically to understand how each individual, because not everyone is the same. Like when you're getting in the front pose, there are the people that they can rotate their elbows more to the front and engage the lats, but there are the people that they like to feel it from the shoulder blades. So you need to understand how each individual is
You want
has
a good cue for when people are stuck with their shoulder blades, like from a neurological standpoint. Um, you have some people that are really good in shoulder blade pro and
Mhm.
retraction stuff, and some people just like move like a block. In the
Yeah,
some poses, that it's really good if you move as a unit, and sometimes you want to split that parts. And they are super, super. It doesn't matter in which direction we're talking. They're like fucking stuck with their shoulder blades, you know?
yeah.
And the first thing I would say is look at their wrists. Because related to that, like if you have the wrist hanging, I would say this is like a flexible wrist where I
Mm-hmm.
can do
Mm-hmm.
everything what I want. Try it. You can move your shoulder blade way better with a hanging wrist. So as more flexible as your wrist, I say, as more flexible is your shoulder blade. As more stuck you are in some point of your wrist, or if you like put so much tension in your wrist, tell me, is your shoulder blade fixed now? It stucks already on that place. Like if you just holding that point and put pressure in and not in a loose one, and you can get the tension so much up and fix the shoulder blade if you want. Now
Yeah,
you're
it's
testing.
it's with,
It's different.
yeah, it's different because you can feel it on your shoulder on your scapula that
That it
it's
moves differently.
yeah, it's like it's more stiff. Like when
Yeah.
you're moving your wrist is
And
as
and, and it's kind of connected. I always also say it's like when people are not able to grip anymore, it's like kind of expression that the shoulder is too weak to do the movement anymore. So as more as your rotator cuff gets says I cannot do that anymore, the more you want to open your hands. And if we know that doesn't say we cannot use stuff to help our hands to do the shit better, to do stuff, concentrate on our back. That's not about it. But it's super interesting to know um, that my wrist and everything I'm doing down here is related to shoulder health and also shoulder blade mobility kind of, because if I see people like with like really stuck wrists and they cannot move it at all anymore. Doesn't matter where the stiffness comes from. That is not interesting for now. They are all so super stiff in their shoulder blades. And as more as I move this, as I freer, as more the shoulder blade can move, but in a different direction also. If I free here stuff, tension gets better here as well. Mostly it, but mostly problems are coming from the back down and
yeah.
impresses with elbow, shoulder problems, and wrist problems. Mm, but for you as a poser, if you see people with like super stiff wrists and they don't move their shoulder blades, like just tell them that they should hang their shoulder blades and then make a fist, and then they should start trying to move around.
That thing is the same as like I because I had clients that they were really stiff, like before they get the posing, they are already squeezing everything. And that's what I'm telling them, like relax and then we can pose. Because if you're squeezing before even getting in the pose, then you can't pose. Now, I wanted to ask you, how do you if for example you have a client and you're trying to have a personal training with them and they can't connect with their hamstrings, because I am seeing a lot of people having problem connecting with their hamstrings and their lats. How do you guide them through training to have mind muscle connection with those parts?
um, in the past, I like kind of described the picture they could understand and relate to in a movement or in a feeling, you could say. So maybe say like you're a small kid, you're standing f at a big wall, and you want to watch what is on the other side. No one would do a lat pull down with that um picture in his head like this, and they're pulling like up and they had that like, going up like this because you're watching over the wall. You want to go there, you're pressing down, you're doing something different than hanging on a tree and pulling yourself up because you just want to get your chin over that point. but we want to look over it, you know. Sometimes when I was like small, I could like place my head on that because I just wanted to look over, and I pressed like down. So like, and this is like something that important because the people don't use their shoulder blades to go up and down with like they're going sometimes to go just here. Sometimes we want that if we want to train us, depending on where we have problems and what we want to achieve. I'm just looking if I can create a picture they can relate to a movement and understand. So my question is, what sports did you did before? What do you do in your daily stuff? What patterns do you know? You know, can I create a picture with a pattern you already do every day, or can at least imagine?
Yeah.
And that was what I worked in the past, and this is what I'm still doing, kind of. But because of posture is so important for me, because I noticed in injury profiles and also like in performance, we know that it makes a difference. Um, I'm sometimes like when they sit down, I just watch the movement 3 or 4 times and then just pulling around on them like in posing, and now you start, and then they can just feel it. Like I said,
Mhm.
like when I say this or this rep was like where I want to get by feeling, and they can just feel it and say, ah, now I understand. Because like for me, it's important that you can connect an emotion and tension and feeling with it, because you need to learn to reproduce that, to get to that point back. And if you know how your lat should feel like, and you did like 10 or 12 like good reps in a session with it, you can reproduce it, kind of. You need to try, and it feels not the same maybe when you do it alone the next time. But after 2 or 3 like check-ins where you said, don't forget this or don't forget that, we tried this last time, it, it improves. And for me, mostly it's important that doesn't matter what we do, we improve. And it's not only about how fast we can do it, because sometimes pushing speed is not the way to get a long-term finish. No one on a 40-kilometer run would run like Usain Bolt. Yeah, because that would be fucking stupid.
Yeah,
And we
that's
want to
true.
do that sport for a fucking long time, maybe. Or you want to be like Usain Bolt on a 40-kilometer run, you do it one time, then you die. And you won't be the only person who can do that, because like high performance is sometimes stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because like doing stuff that is not clever and probably not healthy to achieve something that no one else can do can be sometimes right. But to be honest, which person who want to get improvements on some kind of muscle, and everyone wants to be improving every year on some kind of muscles, can get improvements if he like gets hurt every half a year and starting over and over the same shit again. No one. So the first point, we need to do a movement and progress in what we are doing and don't get hurt.
Yeah.
And on the way we are doing that, we try to get more stimulus, execute better, getting more performance, getting more movement out of the quality. Are we doing the right movements? It's not a question I'm asking anymore so much, and training routines are, to be honest, not as important as the people in the internet, in my opinion, let are trying to sell it to you. This training routine is kind of the best training routine, that kind of sales. And
Yeah.
um, probably you can catch free training routines on every good content on the internet, where you could start on a two day split or a 3 day split. Let's say frequency kind of helps when we're doing stuff more often. You can learn it quicker, you know. But we need to do a stimulus that we can improve on, and we can regenerate before we do it again. Depending on your day and stuff, that is different for every person. And on your goals, and where the weak points are, and where your strong points are, and where you're fucked up and where you're not fucked up. This says how your training routine should be like. So the training routine is maybe it's pre-written already, because sometimes your job and what you're doing and how you have time The train and how your body looks like already says how your training should be. Because you don't want to, as an athlete, we're not just doing it for fun, we're doing it for progression.
Hmm. Hmm. What
Yeah.
do you think now about how social media became so, like, every person now cannot, like, a training clip, not a training clip, a training split, and say that this is the ideal training split for you to lose weight or to gain muscle. Now, as a coach, a guy that focus so much on training, because we both know that training is the most important aspect of bodybuilding. What do you think about those things that you see?
The most important, can you ask again, maybe a bit more precise?
Yeah,
What,
so now on social media, like different people say that, oh, this is a perfect split for you to lose fat or to gain muscle.
and if that's something that's true, or if that's a completely bullshit. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
you can ask ChatGPT about that. That, yeah, that gives probably a good answer. It, and if you would just want to lose weight, then you probably should do, I don't know, CrossFit,
yeah.
because that, if you're doing like 150 burpees a day and running like 10 kilometers, then fuck, then you're burning a lot of calories.
Yeah, but I'm not saying from that aspect. I'm talking about like with,
If there is a
for ex
training routine that's better for losing weight, or if that's a training routine that's
let's say
better
now
for
someone
gaining
is
muscle.
trying to compete and he just generates something from ChatGPT or something that he saw on Instagram. What is your opinion on that? Would that would you think that will work? Or yeah, that will probably work if the guy that doesn't do anything.
First
But
of all, in bodybuilding, it's
yeah, it's
mostly
for
important that
bodybuilding.
we always have the most amount of muscle we could have, right?
Hmm.
So even if we're in a losing weight aspect, when the weight loss is over and the fat is gone, the stuff under that should be still there.
Hmm.
That would
Yeah.
be nice. So in every aspect, at least in bodybuilding, it's mostly important. If we don't have a weight cap, we need to drop in to hold that. So in my opinion, there is no question in a training routine for more muscle or more fat loss. This we're doing with steps in a day, cardio, activity, because activity overall is, and I would say is the most effective thing what the body can. Just moving, just walking is probably the most effective way to burn calories while not killing your regeneration system, because you're super effective in that movement, because the body is designed to move.
Hmm.
And then our goal is to hold much muscle. So I would never ask that question, because it's always as much muscle as fucking possible.
Hmm. Hmm. That's true. Yeah.
While we're achieving the body fat we want to achieve, or going to the weight we also in a boxing or a different martial arts, when they drop on weight to compete in a weight cap, um, they're trying to just get into it, but they don't want to lose their power. They want
Yeah.
to keep their muscle as well, and it doesn't matter in which sport you go. Maybe there's some kind of sport where losing muscle is helpful then, yeah, maybe in more dancing stuff where you do like need to be more flexible, and stuff like gymnastics where too much muscle can like um yeah, hinder the movement to be that precise, because like the tension like holds you too much together to be like so flexible anymore, because you are that flexible as the bodybuilder, but only with with the weights you're training with. Yeah. And this is also important to know, is we still want to be flexible, but probably not as flexible as a person with like 30 for 40 pounds of less muscle than you. But with a weight, you can be as flexible as the person as well, because the movements need still be kind of the same to keep the joints healthy.
Hmm. What
So
is
then we have like some structure we need to go. So if we want healthy joints, if we want to keep more muscle, then it leads to a direction how the training plan should be.
hmm.
Also maybe on kind of volume and rep discussion, and but this is maybe something we can talk about, because I think, I don't know, is in America rep scheme to be a thing, to be only train in low reps, this is the best, don't train high reps again, or the people are just saying you need to train in high reps because it gives more definition. Is this is still a thing in America that people talk about?
Bro, here people just they're doing lower rep ranges.
Lift
And
from bank style,
yeah,
if you know the person.
no, I don't know him, but what they're trying to do is lower rep ranges, put as much weight as possible, and then just do shitty reps. That's how they train. Like when I
Yeah,
see
the
people,
problem is
yeah,
that they're low, high frequency, low reps by studies at the moment is something that is very interesting, we need to say, because like stiffness of the joints, so the joints are healthier, low rep scheme is good. It doesn't fuck up the nervous system so much, so we have more regeneration, all that good, interesting stuff. And as we already know, hypertrophy is mostly about mechanical tension.
hmm.
I say mostly because the mechanical tension needs to be at least, or and needs to be impresses on the muscle we want to train. And for sure, when the weight is heavy enough, we probably use all of that we can if we just smash the weight.
Yeah.
Problem is, like, if we're doing there something wrong and we're getting injuries all the time, or the triceps is not growing by it, but it should, we need to go back to that movement and look into it if there's something not working well. And a
Mm.
rep scheme of 3 or 4 reps to, like, with 95% of your max, it will be pretty hard to get better technique.
That's true.